Hey there, storytellers and fans. This is Dr. A.Y. Heath. I am also the Mystic Scribe, but you can call me Angel. Today, I am talking about something I really like and what I like about this. And today, it's what I like about Aliens. 1986 Aliens is not just a sequel, but a masterclass in genre fusion, character depth, and the emotional stakes that still hits nearly 40 years later. This movie just isn't about that xenomorph, that multiple xenomorphs. It's about Ripley, a survivor, a leader, a mother, a figure, and a warrior all rolled into one. And every time I rewatch it, something new jumps out. The pacing, the pulse, the pure panic, and somehow the heart. I'm going to have to admit, quite honestly, when this movie came out, I was very young, and I was also in the United States Marine Corps. I had just stepped in, and so this movie was a lot of fun for me because a bunch of us went to go see it together, all in our uniforms and crazy. So this one is a fond memory for me. So I'm pulling together some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite lines, some of the looks and the choices that were made. It's not so much a review. I don't do a lot of movie reviews, but I'm just going to talk about what worked for me. I also broke this screenplay down for you. I'll link that in the description so you can go look at that. And so welcome to what I like about this. I will ask you to take a moment, please, to subscribe and like and follow. If you would please support my work and give me that wonderful honor. I invite your chatter in the comments section rather. I love talking with everybody, so please be kind and please be respectful. Other than that, let's jump on in. Let's get to it. Okay, you might hear papers rustling in the background. I have lots of notes, so bear with me. So the first thing I want to say is this is something new I'm doing. I call it What I Love About This. And what I do is I share a bunch of reels with you on a whatever it is I like, whether it's a movie or a genre or a character. And then I'm going to talk about it. So if you've been following me on the reels, this is the payoff for all the reels. I so appreciate you guys who watch the reels. I showed a lot of scenes that I loved, that I thought were really great scenes. And so we're going to kind of go back and look at some of those specifically and why I dropped those specific ones. And honestly, if you love them, I'd love to get your comments on them. And what scenes that I didn't include, because outside of just showing the whole movie, I can't show all the scenes, but just some of the ones that stood out for me and why I like them. So again, we're going to start with Ripley, an iconic character. I was a little girl when the first Alien came out, and that movie scared the bejesus out of me. And in that film, what they did with Ripley was really iconic in terms of creating this strong character that was, just a ridiculous survival character. But they did something different with her in this film by dropping her into this story with these Marines who were just killing it. They were pretty tough. And what I liked what they did was they didn't make her tougher than the Marines. I think sometimes we make that mistake in the films that we make now. We have the female hero and she comes out tougher than anybody. She wasn't tougher than the Marines. She just knew more than they did because she survived it before. They were a little cocky, so they didn't listen. And so she had an instinct, and then the mother's instinct kicked in. So they did a really great job of pulling her in. So one of my favorite scenes, let's just talk about everybody's favorite scene. Ripley jumps, I don't know why I said that, gets into the loading mech unit. I call it a mech unit because it reminds me of mech units. And she comes out and she has the battle with the alien. As a writer, this scene is so awesome because it is the epic hero's journey battle at the end. The knight takes on the dragon and fights hand-to-hand combat. No knives, no swords, no guns, no weapons. Hand-to-hand. And how are you going to fight hand-to-hand with a friggin' xenomorph that's like a giant monster, a giant dragon? And they put her in this loader that was really awesome. And you watch the film, they show you this loader at the beginning. And as a writer, when I go see movies now, I always look for this. They show me something, they call it foreshadowing. It's like, here's this thing, pay attention, you're going to see it later. So they show that she can use this. They're impressed that she can operate this mechanism Then at the end, when the mom shows up, the mother alien shows up, here comes Ripley, strapped down, ready, loaded for bear. Get away from her, you know what? And then boom, they get into this big battle. And what the detail in this scene for me is so cool, because in the detail, she's showing all the little gizmos, and she's pushing all the buttons. She's even like little fire torch that she sets on it and everything. It is just a really great roller coaster ride scene that's just awesome. So I love this scene in this film. I love how it brought it all full circle at the end. Another thing about this particular scene that they did really well in the redemption arc of Bishop, Ripley came into this story with some feelings about being around a synthetic based on what happened to her in the last story. So we know that she's not interested in the synthetic. She doesn't want anything to do with it. So when she finds out that Bishop is a synthetic at the beginning of the film, she says, keep this thing away from me. I want nothing to do with it. And she had disdain towards Bishop through the whole film. You saw it, it was clear. Even when he volunteered to go get the ship, she was like, good, you do that and whatever. And she was not interested in him. But they gave this character such a charming arc of redemption for Ripley by giving him opportunities to prove himself as a valuable member of the crew, even to the point where he saved them. And at this point in the film, as the Queen comes up and she rips Bishop apart, it's almost heartbreaking when you watch the film, because he proved himself, and yet still, there's no peace. There is no peace. But the thing, those of us who are kind of nerdy writers, is like, if the alien is detecting and sensing human life, did it really know that Bishop was human life, or was it just a thing in the way that it was just getting rid of because it was trying to get to Ripley? Because he was not a living organism. And if you've read the book, because I've read the book, they have a scene in the book where Bishop, when he crawls into the tube to go get the ship, he actually runs into a kind of a nest or a group of aliens, and they kind of poke at him because they don't know what he is. So if you want to dig down deep and have a philosophical conversation, we can have that fun conversation. Was Bishop ripped apart by the alien queen at the end out of anger and here I'm going to kill everything? Or was it just a thing standing in its way like a wall or a piece of furniture, and it was just trying to get to Ripley? That's a fun conversation to have. Anybody in a movie talk, it's one of my favorite ones. So what other scenes did I have? Nuke It from Orbit. I think I dropped that reel today. The scene where Ripley is smoking a cigarette, it reminded me of an old cowboy movie. They're all trying to figure out what happened. They just came out of the nest. They just came out of the panic. They just came out of losing almost their whole team, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and they're trying to regroup. And in the corner, while they're all panicking and talking to each other, their commanding officer is messed up. Their sergeant is gone. They don't know what to do, and Ripley's smoking a cigarette, and she's just, hey, I think we should just take off, nuke them from orbit, and it's the only way to be sure. And then we have this shuffling of power, this chess game of power between Burke and Ripley, where Burke is, you don't get to just destroy this station. It has a significant financial value attached to it, and these are a bunch of grunts, and who are you? And Ripley reconfirms the chain of command, which is the natural chain of command, but not a comfortable chain of command, where you have a full unit on the surface in this mission, and now the corporal's in charge because everybody else is incapacitated. And so, yeah, Corporal says, let's nuke them from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Love that scene. And I'm kind of all over the place here because I'm going through my notes, and I want to go all over the place. We don't want to be too tick by tick through the film. I want to have some fun here. So we talked about how it ended and how I love the ending. Let's talk about, the beginning of the film, where we find her in space, which is chef's kiss. She's in space. The salvage team comes in and finds her asleep, which completes the cycle. It gives us the logical start. And again, I love a film that has logic in it, so it makes sense to me, so I don't have to try to figure out what's going on. If you make me think it takes away from the enjoying, unless you're making me think for a good reason. If it's good thought because the story and the plot is really good. But if I'm trying to figure things out because it's a sequel and the first one ended over here and now we're over there and I have to figure it out, it makes no sense. Or there's 20 years missing and you never explained to us what happened to the 20 years. So they did a great job. I love how they found her in outer space and now we're here and then we're in the hospital and she has the nightmare. And I think that that sets the tone. I love that scene. It's one of my favorites. And then the next one I dropped is kind of my next really favorite scene is the drop ship. It is such a crazy Marine Corps moment when these guys are preparing for the drop. And if it wasn't for the way that the actors and the way that they pulled this scene together, you wouldn't get the significance of this. So let's go back in time to the original Alien movie. And if you guys grew up, if you're a Gen Xer and you grew up with Alien, you remember the scene where the ship landed on that planet and it was this crazy, painful, dangerous, ridiculous thing that almost killed them landing on this planet. And in Aliens, these guys just drop down in this crazy scene and they're screaming and Hicks passes out. I love that scene. I love it. And then, of course, the famous game over, man. Game over when they go to try to get away and the alien slips onto their transport, causing it to crash. And we learn two things. One thing we learn is that the Marines really did not get the warning. They didn't spend the time they needed to spend. And that's on the command. That's on the company. They did not really do the work that they needed to do to prepare for this mission, because they were just, how you walk around in the alien planet, leave your ships all open so aliens can walk on. You wouldn't if you knew what you were going up against. And that's the beauty of the Alien franchise in the earlier movies, is they really gave that mystery, that mystique. They really made these monsters just menacing, and it's just who and what they are. So having that scene where the thing gets on the ship and the ship just crashes and we don't know where these aliens are on this planet, and as you watch the movie, especially if you watch it a second time or however many times after, I don't know how many times I've watched this film, they're just walking around out there and there are aliens all over the place. They have no idea where they are. That's kind of scary. That's old school scary, and I just love it. And the whole process of going through survival, they get on the planet. Ripley didn't want to go in the first place. You know, Ripley was safe. She was safe. She was on Earth. She'd been rescued. But she was living a life that she didn't want to live. She was basically a trash truck driver or something. She could not get a real commission because they blamed her for everything that happened, and she was put on suspension. So she basically had to go get some stupid job, and she wasn't living a fulfilling life. So she took this on to be a hero, but to get her life back. And so she had nothing left. So she decided to go out there, and there she was, stuck on this planet again with, instead of one alien, a gabillion aliens. And they really told a really great story. Like I said, I don't like to review movies, but from a storyteller's perspective, this one is really good. You know, it has the punch. It brings the feel back. It took the first one, brought the feel back that they had from the first one, brought in this whole aspect with the Colonial Marines. And as a Marine, I really enjoyed how they were put together. The acting team, the talent that they had in this film was on point. This is a really great narrative, and the scenes that I dropped, I hope you enjoyed them. I may pull a few more before I jump on to my next little pleasure, my little guilty pleasure. Let me know if you like this. This is my goal. I'll drop a handful of scenes, and then I'll come back and talk about why I like that movie. But for me, if you have not seen Aliens, that is the sequel to Alien, with all these new Alien movies coming out, and I think Alien Earth, I haven't seen it yet. People keep asking me about it. I haven't watched it yet. I may watch it sometime this month and talk about it, but this movie is excellent. It's actually one of my favorites in the franchise. Watch it. Drop your comments in the comment section. What is your favorite scene? Did I miss anything? I'm looking at my notes. I could do this all day, but I don't have all day to do that. So I'll drop a few more reels before I'm done with this movie, and then we'll move on to the next one. Smash that like button. Please subscribe, share with your friends, drop a comment in the comment section, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now.